Okay, you made it to the end. We're at the end. You're at the end of week 3. That's the best part. You're at the end of week 3. All right, so what did you learn, right? So now you understand why it is important to be fluent in the language of fashion. That's just what the lexicon is, and how you will continually be adding to your lexicon. You will be growing as a fashion expert because that's what your goal is to be a fashion expert. And you don't do that alone, right? So you do that by watching runway shows. YouTube is great for that. I spend too much time watching runway shows. So watching runway shows and reading fashion magazines and trade periodicals, and then that whole list of resources that I gave you, I provided you of books that you should own, are really really important. If you take in fashion history, you've also meant to bend down again. If you take in fashion history, sorry you guys, just off the top of my head. You take in fashion history, you should have this book as well. You should have Costume and Fashion. This is a great resource, especially because there are a lot of pictures, especially when they get to more contemporary times. There's some great stuff in there, and then there's a whole index in the back. I told you about one of the fashion designer dictionaries. I don't have the other one. Handy. It's in the office downstairs. But just building, reading, watching, viewing, following, right? Really important. Again, as you are establishing your aesthetic, that you have a great understanding of what the terms are. The other thing, which in the lecture we talked about understanding textiles. So if you haven't taken textiles yet, right? When you take it if you take it with me, we'll be using Fabric for Fashion Complete Guide. This is a great resource because it has some amazing. I love this book because it's so visually pleasing. Amazing images. And you have to have that understanding of textiles too, right? So what the luster, hand, and drape of a fabric is going to be, and you kind of have a good idea of what the finished product is going to look like before you even finish the product, because you have an understanding what the fabric is going to do. Okay, so we learned that. We learned about the zeitgeist. So you got a new word in there. Just understanding the past and historical references. And fashion is really about historical references. You watched a couple videos, right? You watched some videos about ready to wear and how they drew on the past for the future, and then you got an introduction to avant-garde, beauty through kind of deconstruction. You got your A to Z's. You got some A to Z's, right? There's so many fashion terms. So I gave you a little bit of A to Z's, and then you learned about some icons. You learned about, some of my favorites, some historical favorites, and then some of my favorites as well. And then as well, I introduced you to some current ones. And again, mine and yours may be different, and that is completely okay because our aesthetics are going to be different, right? But in order to be a fashion expert, you have to make references to the past, and you have to make references to certain designers that are in your aesthetic, and you have to make references to certain garments that just were, that shifted, right? Really did shift the way that fashion moved forward. Okay, all right, and then hopefully you got you enjoyed your styling, your first styling activity. Did research on a couple designers, and I'm gonna give you a precursor. So that's gonna help you with when we get to our final project, right? So doing that research. All right, if you have any questions, you know what to do. Hit me in the inbox. Stop by visiting hours in Cranium Cafe. If those hours don't work for you, schedule an appointment with me in Cranium Cafe. You can use that same link on the homepage to schedule appointments as well, okay? All right, next week is week 4, which means you're halfway done. All right, you're halfway done. We're halfway home. All right, I look forward to seeing you guys. Bye.